Epic Games just dropped the new developer assistant for Unreal Engine. To get it, just go to the Unreal Engine page, go to Learning. Here you will find at one side the information of your profile, and below it you will find Developer Assistant, which right now is in beta. Like any other AI tool, you can start using it right now just by typing your questions and asking it whatever you want. At the time of publishing this video, Unreal Engine 5.7 is still in preview, so the answers you will get from this tool only supports up to Unreal 5.6. The video could end here, but let's actually put it to the test. This is the same thing that is shipping with Unreal Engine 5.7. So let's use it in Engine. Right now I'm running the preview version of 5.7, so let's enable the plugin by going to Plugins, searching for AI, and checking it. And let me just restart the editor. Now that the editor has been restarted, I should be able to find the AI Assistant here in Window, AI Assistant, or using the shortcut Alt F1. And here it is. The first thing I'm gonna ask it is to help me structure the project. In this case, I'm gonna be created a super simple endless runner. I don't want to create a super complicated prompt, I just want to replicate like a normal user would type. So my prompt is, how would you structure a simple endless runner game in Unreal Engine? Please give me the main components I would need, like the player, obstacles, scoring, and game over logic. Pretty simple, so let's see what it tells me. Okay, that's awesome. Let me just review it really quickly. And yeah, it has given me a good overview of what I need and how, not exactly how I need to do it, but things that need to be done. What's interesting here, it's telling me that the implementation can be done primarily in blueprints with some C++ as needed for performance, right? And also, it gives me some useful links to know more about the engine. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty good. In this next prompt, which you can pause the video to check what I'm typing, I'm giving more info to the AI assistant just so it can give me actionable steps to use or start making the game, right? But also, I'm telling it to use the gameplay framework and tell me where should I be putting certain parts of my game, right? So it's actually helping me structure the game inside Unreal. So let's check the answers. Here, it's telling me to use the player class for lane switching, storing the lane index, the character movement for jumping, detects collision with obstacles and triggers elimination event. Perfect. Player controller processes input, manage game flow input on game over screen. That's all right, yeah. Game mode defines the rule for the game session, spawns the player character on level start, manages game states, handles restart and quit functionality. Yeah. Everything thus far is good. It's good. Game state tracks ongoing score and high score, shares current game status to UI and player controller. Game state, I specifically told it that it was a single player game. This could also be in the game mode. If it's in the game state, I mean, it's okay also. Usually the game state is something that in multiplayer games will allow it to have some information replicated from the server to other clients. And HUD displays the running score, elimination, yeah, obstacle spawner, which should be an actor, yeah, spawns obstacle randomly in the lanes, controls obstacle life cycle, spawn and despawn. Here, I would have probably liked that it will implement some sort of pooling, just so I don't need to spawn a lot of actors at the same time. Or, well, not at the same time, but infinitely. Like, destroying and spawning actors is not the best thing to do. I mean, in a small game, you can get away with it, but it's probably better to just spawn 20 obstacles and then just move them in and out of the screen, and it will give the feeling that they are being created, but actually you only have like 20, 20 or 30 obstacles, which are just moving around all the game, right? Well, also give me the gameplay flow. Player controller receives lane switching, Player control character moves forward automatically. Yes. On collision with an obstacle, player character broadcasts elimination. Game mode switches to game over state. Yeah, the flow seems great. Seems seems great. Yeah, it's pretty much what I need for this type of game. And again, useful links, gameplay framework, quick reference. For this type of game, my instinct will tell me to start with the player, start with the movement, get it feel it right, then go with the obstacles, then with the obstacles working, whenever an obstacle can actually hit the player, probably I will go to the game mode and check the win and lose conditions of the game, and from there I can also spawn the widget, well, create a widget that says you lost, here's your high score, here's your score, and a button that says retry and quit. Yeah, that would be my instinct. But let's let's ask and see, where should I start. Let's see if this prompt actually give me the first steps so I can get going with this project. Okay, so it's telling me to set up the input, and this means setting up my player character and probably my player controller. Yeah, so let's see the recommended start steps, right? And in these start steps, create a player character class. We can do that. It's telling me to add variables for the current lane, an integer or an enum. Probably an int is fine. Implement smooth lateral movement logic to move the character between three lanes. Here's where a newcomer will ask, okay, what what exactly do you mean, right? So yeah, let's ask it. Just a simple question. Let's see how it answers. And it has given me the answer within, well, with the logic I should use. Here is an example logic in the tick. It's giving me C++, which is fine. Input functions, excuse me. Move left, move right. And yeah, it's just a matter of calling this to move from one lane to another. Yeah. So here is just setting up. So whenever you go, try to go left, whenever you are already in the index 0, you will always stay at 0. Could be instead of a clamp, could have used a max, because I mean, if you're only moving to one side, it's fine. It's fine. It's really fine. I can nitpick the code if I would really like to, but I mean, it will work. It will work. And yeah, the interpolation code here, it's being done in the tick. If you want to nitpick it a little bit, I mean, you could probably calculate this here. So you are saving one operation, right? And you can just put set actor location, and this result could actually be just this. And the current location is fine. But, well, not an F interp 2, but a B for vector, a vector interpolation, which has the current location and the goal location or target location, whatever you like to call it. You could probably calculate that target location here, just so it's not done every tick, right? I mean, it's not bad or it's not going to kill your performance, but I mean, it's not that great, not that great. So let me just ask it. So let's see what it tells me now. And yeah, it actually tells me, yes, you can do it. Then tick only performs a smooth operation towards the store target position. And I'm going to ask it, because I know people are lazy, to just give me the code that I can copy and paste. So I'm gonna ask it for the fixed code, and I'm asking please, just in case AI overthrow us eventually. And also I'm gonna ask it how to implement it in blueprints. Okay, it gave me the C++ implementation, like everything, so I can really copy and paste it. I just need to be careful whenever I do copy and paste this. And it's also giving me the blueprint implementation, the variables I need, the input events, the event tick and how to connect it. Yeah, I mean, for sure you can follow it. Maybe in the future they will add like the actual graph that can follow these directions. But I think you're gonna have a easier time working with C++. Now, what I noticed here is that I believe we are using the old way of setting up. So let me just ask it and tell it, hey, I'm gonna use uh, the enhanced input, and let's see what it gives us. So here it is. Here's the result, and let's see if it's using the enhanced input. Subsystem, add mapping context, setup, enhanced input. Yeah, it sure seems like it is using it. And yeah, I think it's fine. I think we can start making this. You just have to ask it, and it will actually uh, fix it for you. And does it tell me with blueprint? Yes. Create the input actions. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not bad. Not bad at all. So let's do it. So let's implement smooth lateral movement logic to move the character between three lanes. Then let's add jump support using character movement component. Let's set up the input bindings by binding the left arrow keys to lane switch functions and binding the up arrow key to the jump. Enable automatic forward movement. Now let's have the character move forward continuously at a fixed speed. And finally, let's test it by verifying lane switching and jumping respond correctly. Can't argue with results, huh? So, I mean, it is working. It is working. I mean, some things that it didn't take in consideration was that I needed a camera. I guess I didn't specify it. And also that to test this, I need to possess the actual character because I have not defined any type of game mode or nothing. I just added this here and possess it manually. But yeah, I mean, it worked. My initial plan was just to test it and leave it here, but I'm having fun, so I want to see how far can I go. I asked for the next steps, and what he told me is to develop the obstacle spawner and obstacles. We will create an obstacle actor class with collision enabled. We will implement an obstacle spawner actor that periodically spawns obstacles randomly in the three lanes ahead of the player. Let's configure the obstacles collision to generate overlap events. In the player character, handle overlap events with obstacles to trigger elimination. Game over. And finally, test the obstacle spawning and automatic elimination on collision. And there we have it. We have obstacles being spawned randomly depending on the player's position. So it's always spawning in front of me. And also, I told the assistant that I wanted pulling, which means that, well, let me just detach. After a certain point, this just gets reused. And I mean, I should have, I put 20 obstacles. Maybe I don't need 20, but yeah, most of them are just hidden. But It really goes on and on. Now, whenever the player touches one obstacle, it means that my input is disabled, which right now is disabled. And also, here in the output log, every collision will result in this message that says eliminated by the obstacle. Now, on to the score and the HUD. It's telling me that it will add a score variable. It's going to increment the score on gameplay events. It's going to create a UI widget, bind the score variable to UI, then spawn and add the widget to the viewport, and then update the UI as the score changes. And here it is. We have a score that every second is going to go up. We have a UI, and yeah, so far so good. In these final steps, what it's telling me is in the game mode, add a game over flag, create a function to trigger game over, broadcast an event or delegate notifying game over. In the player controller, listen for the game over event from the game mode. On game over, disable the player input or prevent further control. Right now, this was done in the character class, which I think it forgot that it was supposed to use the player controller class. So I needed to remind the chat to do that. Later, do UI widget, create the game over. On game over event, show the widget, bind the buttons to call and restart the exit. Also, restart and exit. On restart, let's just call the open level, and exit is just an exit. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty standard stuff. So let's see how this is looking like. We can move around, we can jump over the obstacle, we can collide with the obstacle. The character will stop, the score will stop. We can restart, and we can start again. And then if we collide again with something, then we can quit the game. Very easy. So I mean, it's totally doable to use the assistant for any kind of project. Now, I need to tell you about the little things or big things that I ran into while working on this super small game. The first one is that you really need to be very specific on what you want. Otherwise, things will happen like, oh, it didn't assume that I wanted a camera in my character, so it didn't give me a camera. So I had to ask it, hey, I want a camera like in this game that is like a third person camera, a little bit rotated to look towards the ground. And it did it for me. The second thing was that it usually took the easier solution, which may be because most developers take the easier solution, right? Oh, and here is not taking into account the the elevation of the terrain. And by easier solution, sometimes it just stick everything in the tick event, and it's like, oh, it's already solved here in the tick. Why do you want more, right? So yeah, it overused the tick function for a lot of things. It also, on the same path, it added some hard-coded paths, which meant that in the C++ code there was like a complete reference to an asset that existed here, but that means usually that your game or your project loses a lot of flexibility, and it's really not a good practice to use that kind that kind of path. Because if you add the path, for example, like, oh, I want something here, like to call this game over screen, and I go here, I have the object path, and it say, oh, game endless runner UI screens da, da, da. Whenever you move this or rename it, which can happen at any point of time, you will break the reference, and now the C++ code needs to be updated, which I mean it's really not a clean implementation. If you need to do that, you really don't need a C++ programmer or a programmer just to update a reference to a file that was modified or renamed. So yeah, that's stuff to be looking for whenever it gives you a solution and you just want to copy and paste everything. Take some minutes to read what it's doing, to take in consideration the logic that is following, and yeah, the last thing I wanted to mention is that the longer that I talked with with the assistant in the same chat, it began to start losing context. And this is something that it actually tells you that it will happen. Where is my assistant here? Uh, I think I lost it. Let me bring it back. Let me select the chat, and you will have you can have more chats. You can create new chats here. If you put your Epic Games account, then whatever chat you had on the website, you can also read it here, and vice versa. So yeah, this wasn't it. Okay, so let's look at the end. It's telling you for the best experience, consider starting a new chat. Long threads may lose context. And in my case, this happened, and this happened in the form of beginning to suggest code in without using the instruction that I gave it. Like for example, use the gameplay framework classes. It disregarded that and start putting everything in the character. Like, oh, you want to score in the character. You want to create the game lose screen in the character. So I had to remind the chat or the assistant to actually remember that, hey, we should use the gameplay framework classes that we structured at the start, right? We structured the game using the classes inside the gameplay framework, but it forgot. So yeah, those are my experiences, and yeah, I mean it's still a great tool for learning. I just don't try to to use it for everything, and do read every line that it gives you. Don't just copy and paste and be done with it. So that's the end of the video. If you liked it, let's give it a like. Also, make sure to subscribe, and you can also join the members of this channel. It really helps us a lot. And yeah, we will keep posting free stuff here. You can also check out our courses if you would like to do that. But overall, I think that's pretty much all the plugs that I need to do at the end of the video. And yeah, let me know if you're using the tool, the AI Unreal Assistant. And yeah, have a great day. And I'll see you in the next one.